So I'm not a fan of that old sitcom Seinfeld. But I am grateful for one thing that it left the world, which is the holiday of Festivus, with the ritual airing of grievances. And I thought that this might be an opportune moment to share one of mine. I wanted to bring to you a complaint I've been nursing. It's about a television show. It's called Pluribus. Some of you may have heard about this new show that's out, Pluribus. It's by Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad and of Better Call Saul, these shows that have urgency and velocity and high-stakes decisions and fast consequences. And so last winter, when I heard that Vince Gilligan was coming out with a new show, I started counting the days. I mean, picture me with the wall calendar. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And then finally, it arrived, not all at once, but just week by week by week. And I could handle that. I could handle that. But what I struggle with and continue to struggle with is what happens in each episode, which is close to nothing. The show follows a woman named Carol. I know some of you are like, when is he going to get to the sermon? Stick with me. The show follows this woman named Carol as much of the world's population becomes a hive mind. Now that sounds like a good premise, except episode after episode, we just see Carol all by herself living life. In the most recent episode, she's the only person left in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we watch her shooting off fireworks all by herself. We watch her practicing golf all by herself. We watch her eating dinner all by herself. That's it. It's like John Cage was given Hollywood money and said, let's make the audience experience real time in slow motion. I have not been this restless since I tried to read War and Peace. Is anybody with me? I don't know if anybody's watching this thing. It's excruciating. So here's a confession. What I'm talking about, of course, is not a TV show. What I'm talking about is how I've been living my own life. Because what I want, what I crave, is the highlight reel. You know? I want the payoff. I want the breakthrough. I want to fast forward to the good parts. What I don't want is that long stretch of time where it seems like nothing much happens, where the plot refuses to cooperate with my sense of urgency. And if I'm honest, that impatience shows up elsewhere in my life. This past year, 2025, I have had to wait. So when I'm not serving here as a sabbatical minister, I do consulting work, and there was this one organization that might provide a significant amount of work in the year 2026. Then again, they might not. Which meant that I had to keep my calendar open and also be ready to scramble and fill it if the answer was no. For 3 months. No clarity or action to take. They had a process. So all I could do was just wait. Have I mentioned that I'm not particularly good at that part? Or on the personal front, a few months ago, I made a new friendship, or at least thought I did. We hung out a couple of times, and then nothing. I decided to myself, well, the ball's in his court. So I waited. And I waited. And now it's winter, and I'm still waiting. It's a good thing. It's a good thing I like myself so much. It's a good thing that I'm my own best friend. Because another friend told me that I've got my answer. And I don't know, because I'm still waiting. And I suspect I'm not alone. I suspect that in this room, waiting is not seen as a rare thing or a glitch, but instead part and parcel of life. So, if you would, I want to ask you for a little call and response. Your part is we wait. So, we wait. To hear the report back from the doctor. We wait. to see if the marriage is going to make it through this season.
We wait.
For the job offer or the rejection.
We wait.
For the immigration paperwork to be approved.
We wait.
To see if sobriety is going to hold this time.
We wait.
For an apology, for repair, for proof that the rupture mattered.
We wait.
For the next shoe to drop at work.
We wait.
For clarity about a calling, a decision, a next step that just refuses to come. We wait and we wait and we wait. And I would wager that throughout human history, waiting has always been hard. But I'd also say that in this last generation, it's got even harder. Did you know that the average internet user worldwide these days is online 7 hours a day? Studies show we check our phones, hang on a minute, about 150 times a day, with hundreds of notifications trying to get at our attention. And it's not accidental. It was built this way. Our devices are built on intermittent rewards, the same mechanisms that make slot machines addictive. Sometimes there's something good, and often there's not, so we just keep checking and checking and checking and checking. And a soul trained on intermittent reward has a very hard time tolerating the long duration of holy waiting. For our ancestors, perhaps waiting was only a season in life, and it may be that for us in these times, waiting feels like failure because the world in our pocket keeps whispering, do something, check something, fix something, refresh something, refresh, refresh, refresh. That constant urgency, that twitchy jackrabbit alertness is not just exhausting. I have come to think that it's working against life. Anything that refuses to let you rest, that denies you the pause that's required for wisdom, is a force, I believe, moving in the wrong direction. Because life requires long stretches of dormancy. And there's science about this. In 1972, paleontologist Stephen Jay Gould, along with Niles Eldredge, introduced a theory called punctuated equilibrium. And the idea was simple. It was that evolution doesn't just move forward steadily like a conveyor belt. Instead, they said, life holds still for long periods of stability, stasis, dormancy, and then change comes quickly. Long quiet, sudden shift. Long stillness, then release. That rhythm, Gould said, is not the exception, but instead a deep pattern, which is a problem for people like me. And maybe is a problem also for some of you, because we've been treating stillness as something to endure instead of something nourishing and essential. What if it turns out that we've misread the wilderness seasons of our lives as we scan the horizon trying to get there, and failed instead to be here? What if wisdom right now is calling us to wait a while? What if the next faithful step is actually not a step at all? What if the pressure to do something is keeping you from knowing what is the right thing? So what can we do when there's nothing to do? For me, an answer comes from my favorite tree, the eastern redbud. I grew up in the Tennessee Valley with the Cumberlands on the west and the Smoky Mountains to the east, and it's where I still live. Winters there can be bleak, gray skies, bare hills, and then one day in early March, after all those time, you see it, pink, the first note in the symphony of spring. The redbud doesn't ease in, it arrives. But long before that, something crucial is happening. By late autumn, as daylight shortens, the redbud enters dormancy. Leaves fall, photosynthesis stops, sugars are stored deep in roots and wood, growth hormones recede, cold tolerance mechanisms increase. Externally, the tree appears still. Internally, it is repairing tissue, conserving energy, preserving integrity. This is no less than recovery, healing. And then winter deepens. The tree enters endodormancy, a phase where even warm days, like in climate change, won't trigger growth. It requires specific accumulation of cold hours before it can respond to the conditions of spring. And this protects it from blooming too soon or dying too fast. The timing is biochemical, not emotional or impulsive, but precise. Only when conditions are right will release come. Stored energy then surges, buds open, and the redbud blooms suddenly and fully. I think from our human vantage point, we can name this pattern, these stages, with 3 words: rest, trust, release. Rest is the work of recovery when visible progress stops. Rest. Trust is waiting for timing instead of obeying external pressure. Trust. Release is spending stored strength fully and gloriously when the season warms and turns, when the moment is right. Release. The redbud, after all that, doesn't bloom despite winter, but blooms because of it. Dormancy is not empty time. It is preparation. Most of life that we lead takes place between headlines. Most growth is happening all the while underground. Most courage in our lives is taking shape before it is ever seen. So in your life this morning, if you are waiting for healing, waiting for clarity, waiting for courage, waiting for direction, it may turn out that this has not been the pause before nothing. It may be the long stillness before the punctuation that your life is preparing to make. Maybe life to this point hasn't been telling you no. Maybe what you've been receiving so far is only not yet. So let me ask you not to answer aloud, but to carry in your heart some questions along these 3 lines of rest, trust, and release, the wisdom of the redbud. Rest. What part of you is exhausted because it never gets permission to rest? What might heal if you ever stopped trying to prove something? What are you carrying that's not yours to carry? What if rest is not retreat and surrender, but instead is repair? Rest. And trust. Where might not yet be wisdom instead of procrastination? Trust. What signal, not external pressure, not the demands of the day, but what signal for you will let you know when it's time, when the moment is right, with whatever you've been waiting with for all this time? Trust. And thirdly, release. What strength are you storing now for a moment not yet arrived? And how may you have been leaking it out, this strength, in every direction toward every stray purpose, rather than stewarding it, guarding it, allowing it to build up? And when the time comes, when the moment arrives, how can you get ready to then spend yourself fully? Rest, trust, release. And because this is a faith not only of individual insight, but of collective practice, we can turn toward this together, like people nurturing that Hanukkah faith, that there is enough and that there will be enough. We turn and open ourselves to the winter, not to hurry, not to force, not to confuse movement with meaning, but instead to prepare, knowing that preparation is not passivity, but is instead what life does through the winter. So here is an invitation for the we, for the us of this moment. I'm going to ask you to say it back to me. We are learning to rest together.
We are learning to rest together.
In a culture that rewards depletion, we will practice repair. We are learning to trust together.
We are learning to trust together.
Trusting timing over impulse and discernment over urgency. And we are preparing for release together.
We are preparing for release together.
Not frantic release, not scattered release, but full, well-timed, when the moment is ripe, release. Because when we rest together, we can heal more deeply. And when we trust together, we will wait more wisely. And when we release together, we will change more faithfully and more fully. So, without fast forwarding all the way into spring, but staying right here in this moment, occupying the spaciousness of December, we will not confuse stillness with failure. We will not mistake dormancy for defeat. We will not shame ourselves or each other for the primal act of wintering. Instead, we will wait and trust that in our waiting, life is working on us. And trust in our waiting, life is working on us.